DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
There we are. There we are. We are live. We are broadcasting to the multitudes of people all around the world who are encouraged because they too someday can be really cool like Ben Stowe and fly from airport to airport.
It's not all it's cracked up to be, you know that. So.
Oh man, is it? Yeah, no, not too much. Hey, good evening and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. It is Tuesday night with Ben Stowe, and tonight we're going to be talking about this little thing that happened last week in the speaker community was kind of a big thing, but I wanted to look at it from a little bit different perspective, and I wanted to talk about the logistics of making last week happen.
Okay.
And Ben, I think you are the man to talk about it because you guys had an incredible round of preparing to make people very happy last week.
Well, we had a lot of help, and I think we'll definitely dive into that. But you mentioned the man, so actually I want to introduce the man. Maybe not the man for logistics, but certainly the man for audio. This is a good friend of mine, Doug Gould, who's known as the Worship MD. Not just another pretty face, but what a face, you know. But a very capable and competent audio professional, and moreover, one of the best audio educators that I've met. And I think that's a meaningful compliment. So I'm just super excited to be hanging out with Doug and getting my nerd on and learning all kinds of things. Like I just posted on Facebook that drum shields, sort of ineffective at. Well, how did you describe a drum? I just said, basically, you think if a quarter-inch piece of plexiglass can stop the acoustic energy of an instrument that was designed for war, you're kidding yourself. Pretty much. You can see why I like him so much.
Okay, that sounded like a Ben Stowe.
Drummers in the world take note. We're warriors at heart. So.
Yeah, that definitely sounded like a Ben Stowe line there.
So Doug and I, we put on an event yesterday, and we've got another one tomorrow. And it's nice. It takes some of the sting out of being on the road. Of course, he's from New Jersey, and I'm from Minnesota. But it takes the sting out of being on the road, and you can be with people you really admire and enjoy. And we're making the most of it. We're getting copious amounts of ice cream, and we're gonna teach some people some audio stuff tomorrow. So.
Very nice.
Both of us. Yeah.
It's awesome, a joint effort. So now, Doug, then you work with houses of worship around the country, or are you just working regionally?
Yeah, basically, I was a market development manager for 7 years, and I'm also a worship leader and a tech, and not just around the country. Listen, John, I need a new agent. Okay, if you're an agent out there and you're watching, I want to talk to you because Doug has been ever so subtly rubbing it in my face that he's getting paid to spend 2 weeks in Fiji. I don't get that gig. I'm the guy that gets the gig, northern Minnesota in February. You know.
Didn't you do the eel pout? You were out on the ice or something, freezing at one time.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, not just the nation, but Doug is he's worldwide, baby. He's an international phenomenon. Yeah, well, church has volunteers, as you know, and they're all volunteer. They don't
Yeah.
teach for a living. So I'm trying to get them a foundation of audio, tips and techniques to help them this Sunday, but they don't have to go back to night school to learn. And that's basically it.
And you quite literally preaching to the choir. John was one of those people. So
Yeah, for sure. Doug, I'm going to put you on the spot for just a second here. When people are coming to you with problems with their sound and such in their churches, especially kind of smaller churches, what's like one of the most common problems that you hear that people are having, and what's a way to kind of alleviate that problem?
Well, one of the most common problems is that the people don't even know what they're doing behind the console. That's only half the problem. The band doesn't know half of what they're supposed to do either. So the sound guy always gets blamed for the band sounding bad, but let's face it, the band is bad. And I can make them louder. I can't make them better, right? So I think the lack of teamwork, team skills, working things out together relationally to figure out what we need to do to get better is lacking. It's not so much technical expertise or musical skill. They don't even talk to each other. And the church is responsible because they'll buy the equipment, but they won't provide the training.
And what kind of training do you? I mean, obviously, you guys are doing a kind of a little workshop here the last today and tomorrow. But is there training available for someone who's like myself, who's wanting to volunteer and getting into doing sound for maybe a 4 or 5 piece band in our church?
Oh, sure. There's tons of resources that are free on the web that I can send you links to. There's books, there's DVDs, and there's just basic workshops. You can go to 40 conferences a year that I teach at and take away something. But the best thing is to have somebody come to your church locally and work with a team. And I've just created a network called EMT, because churches will ask me to come to their church. I live in New Jersey. They live in Oregon. I can't get there. It's going to cost you $2,000 to bring you there. I know somebody in Oregon who can help you. So I've formalized a list. There's over 200 trainers on my list now, but I can get churches local access help, audio, video, lighting, networks, whatever they need. And when it's done, they're still there. They can call them back.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, Doug, we're going to need to get that.
On my website.
Yeah, we need to get that link so we can put that in the description, because there will be people that'll stumble across this later.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, that would be. Well, Ben, we need to talk about the logistics of what you guys put together last week.
thank you, Doug. Appreciate you.
Thank you much, Doug.
Well, so, as you know, we shipped a very high volume of the new EV Evolve 50 loudspeakers. It was in the ballpark of 150 pieces, which is about 300 boxes. And this was certainly noteworthy to our local UPS hub. We had to, we wanted to make sure we didn't overwhelm the hub. We wanted to make sure that everyone's product got out on time. And one of the other challenges we had was that EV had placed an embargo on the shipments. And so no one was allowed to receive their shipment prior to October 5th. And so our goal was to land as many of these right on October 5th as we could, and no later than October 6th if possible. And I would love to take credit for the smooth rollout, but I really don't get much. We involved some of the fine folks at UPS. They made several visits to our facility. We had the addresses and things to them well in advance, so we were able to sort by time in transit. And as these semi after semi of Evolve is rolling in, we're able to break those skids down and get them labeled, and then get them loaded up for UPS in a organized fashion so they could get them out. And to their credit, they got all of them out safely. We didn't have a single one damaged in the transit outbound. I was really impressed with the way they handled it. So credit to my team, the customer service team, and the sales team for getting all those things coordinated and organized, and then over to UPS, and they did the rest.
Yeah, and I've been in contact with numerous people who are very, very excited to had those speakers arrive before last weekend, so they could use them for their weddings last weekend.
Well, that was certainly a factor. We know that a lot of people were counting on these for gigs. We know that nobody really wants to wait for gear. I can certainly understand how they feel. And moreover, we knew that some people had sold their previous systems. That's a dangerous proposition, to be honest.
Yeah, that is.
Because things can happen. I mean, life can happen, and trucks can get delayed. I've seen trains derail with UPS trailers on them. So, obviously those things would have been outside of our control. But we wanted to make sure that everything that was inside of our control, we did to ensure that those people got the gear in a timely manner and they could go out and use these rigs right away.
Now you mentioned, of course, that Electro Voice had an embargo that they could not get to the destination or to the end user prior to a certain date. Is that very common in the industry to have products where they say that we don't want them delivered here, but they're sitting in your warehouse? I don't know if I've heard that before.
It's not super common in our industry. It happens from time to time. There's often information embargoes. Information's not allowed to be released, but product embargoes are a little less common. You see it more in other industries, though. Just around the corner, I'm here at the Mall of America. Just around the corner is the Apple store. Where certainly there's embargoes there and that sort of thing. You can't take possession of a device prior to this date. But that was sort of unique in our industry. And I think it shows the high regard that Electro Voice holds that system in.
Yeah, that was something that they've been working on for, as we've talked before, 2 or 3 years of putting the planning and prep into this to get this ready to go, and it was finally here last weekend.
I'm certain, by the way, that it was a pure coincidence, but the embargo date, just by random chance, happened to be Mike Dussault's birthday. So I think he just wanted, a hundred of his closest friends to open a present on his birthday.
That's funny.
I'm sure it was just random, but who knows?
Oh, that's funny. Well, I've got a couple of pictures. I wanted to show those for those. Most of you are well aware because in our ads and such we had a couple of pictures that were shared, and I wanted to share those. And Ben, you're not going to be able to see these, but I'll kind of describe what I'm showing here.
All right, I'll use my imagination.
Most of these you probably saw on the EV group. The first one was from Michael Rakovsky, I believe it is, and it's a picture.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, exactly. But Michael's picture is a shot of these in the driveway, and it must have been something his wife texted to him and said, also, something came for you today.
Yes, I did see that one.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of key. Next, we got Brian Kelm. Brian Kelm, he had his all strapped onto his rock and roller cart there, looking fabulous and ready to go. I mean, it's all nice and compact, and in one trip, he's got most of his gear inside.
Mike Dussault just texted me, by the way, and said, "Hey, I'm watching you." Yeah. So, Mike, maybe you can comment on the embargo date being your birthday. I mean, I know Bosch is a really big company, but he just said he wants his birthday present. So maybe a conversation we'll carry on later, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway. And then Mike, I can tell you, I don't know what I'm allowed to tell you, but I can tell you that this was certainly Mike's baby. Column systems have been out for a while, as you know, and Mike certainly had to fight some internal battles to convince Electro Voice that this was a worthy endeavor. That they could do it better, that they could offer this product with superior performance at a ultra competitive price point, and that there was still demand in the marketplace. And clearly, I think Mike's been vindicated by the tremendous success of this product. So, Mike, kudos to you on behalf of hundreds of happy customers. I think everybody's glad you fought that fight. Yeah,
for sure. And we've gotten to hear these live and in person, and they do everything that Mike said they were going to do and more.
It's really nice when you roll out a system like that to have overwhelmingly positive comments. We all sort of breathed a sigh of relief. I knew people were replacing other rigs. They were, selling their other systems and getting these. And now, obviously, we'd put these well through their paces over the years. We had given them a fairly stringent, workout. And so we had a high level of confidence. But at the end of the day, if you put 10 audio guys in a room and asked an opinion, you get 11 opinions. And, we wanted everybody to love them as much as we did.
Yeah.
And that's been the response overwhelmingly. So.
Yeah. We got a couple more pictures I want to share here. We've got some from Scott Miser, I believe it is.
Yes. Yep.
He had one picture where he's got his display. He just posted this in the comments after I asked if we could use his other picture, and I wanted to end with that. Very nice, clean setup that Scott's got. He's got his iMac there. He's got the two Evolve set up on either side. Just a really nice, clean look. And then the one I wanted to talk a little bit about is the final one where he has a picture of the Evolve The sub for the Evolve next to, I believe it must be the new EL. I believe it's
ELX 212-piece sub.
Yes.
Yep, just give you a little more bottom end, thicken it up a little bit. That's obviously the most taxing part for the system to reproduce, and it just helps that thing shine in bigger rooms. And in fact, maybe you saw, but Scott has a post where he did a very detailed analysis and really broke down his experience. And he talks about the packaging being great. And again, we didn't have a single one damaged in outbound transit, so we're excited about that.
Very much so.
Great. Point number 4, I really like this. He says, and I'm quoting him here, he says, the sound, I am quite impressed. I'm coming from a Bose L1 M2 system, and I was used to that sound, and he feels the highs are much crisper and the lows are decent on the Evolve, and all in all, he goes on and on and on and on with a very detailed breakdown. And reading comments from people like Scott was really made my day when we said, we had confidence in the EV engineers, and we had heard the product, and we'd run the product hard ourselves. When you put it out into the hands of people like Scott, who are spending their own hard-earned money on this system and already loving it, we're like, yes, that's what we're talking about. That's what we get up every day for,
Yeah. Yeah, and I was talking to a couple of people here, must have been Sunday, and they were sharing their Saturday night experience that they really feel that the Evolve system for guests or weddings up to 200 people wouldn't have a problem covering that kind of a crowd all night long.
Yeah, I think it depends on what your level of expectation is. Some people have said, well, could I do more? Well, maybe. Some people might feel it would do less. It depends on, if you want rock show level sound, the Evolve is going to do that for a very, very small number of people. It's just not designed for that. But if you want a very compact, clean system like the Evolve that is well featured like it is, with phantom power on the inputs and separate sub-level control, the Bluetooth app can't be overstated, and you want to go out and do a party, a wedding or something for a couple hundred, it's perfect for that. And again, depending on your level of expectation, you might be able to push it for a little bit more people than that. Scott, by the way, Scott Meiser just messaged and said, and no limit lights. So, here again, though, we have to be realistic, with the laws of physics. And yes, I think a pair of 200 people, I feel very confident with that.
Yeah. Yes, that's a number that I've heard quite a few throw around this past weekend with that. And again, I don't think I've heard anyone who had a negative experience, which is always fabulous. And the little side thing that we haven't talked about, because we've always talked about the sound quality and dispersion and the additional bass. A couple of people were saying how much they loved that slanted top on that sub, that people would reach down to put a drink on it, and they're like, oh, this isn't flat, it's going to slide.
Yeah, that's just an added bonus, I think. So, it's the little things, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just kind of looking in the mailbag, and I've got all these awesome feedbacks, and I smile every time I read one, because even when you're sending a large quantity of these things out, that every customer is an individual that spent their hard-earned money on this, and their clients are trusting them with their event and their money. And so every time I get one of these comments, it's really meaningful to us. And, we just really enjoy knowing that people are getting good use out of this. Scott Hayes said, I'm just quoting his message to me here. He said a hotel was running behind schedule, resetting a room. He said the 1 minute setup time of the Evolve worked out perfect. I was able to get music playing right away.
Wow.
So that was awesome. In fact, Jeff from Forerunner Entertainment continues kind of with the same thing, saying the setup difference from my old system is night and day. No more ugly tripods. Now, don't be hating on tripods. No, they can't help it. They're tripods. But anyway, no more ugly tripods. He said low end was surprisingly beefy. He was pretty impressed with what those little 12-inch subs were doing. And he said the array was crystal clear. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that made this different than every other columnar array that I've seen is they have waveguides in front of the drivers and an asymmetrical front. So again, EV knew that they let the market mature. They let other people put one out, and they kind of said, well, what's everybody else doing and what can we do better? And I think they delivered. And he said it was nice to be able to look around his speakers instead of seeing giant blind spots. And this one maybe is the best thing right here. He had to go up and down 2 flights of stairs. So I'm certain he was glad to have the Evolve. Anyway, again, just love these ravingly positive comments, and there's more. Brian Harris, a former Bose user, said, I never expected that I would ever switch from Bose to anything else, simply because all those years I used the Bose L1. He said nothing else caught my eye until the Evolve. And if you follow Brian on Facebook, I think he's had daily videos with his love affair with the Evolves now.
Yes,
so.
Yes. I don't want to call it, an obsession, but it kind of is.
Well, listen, all of us in this industry love gear on some level. I mean, let's just be honest. That's just a part of it. Even me, maybe even especially me. So I think it's great. At the end of the day, they're just tools for a job. They help us go out and perform for our clients. But it's sure nice when they make that job easier, and we can really enjoy them and feel like our money was well spent. So.
Yeah. Great stuff. Really kind of excited as we're hearing more about these. And there's going to be reviews. Reviews have already started to hit, and a couple of our writers actually have some. So they're going to be doing some reviews this week. So that'll be pretty cool to hear them put them through the paces.
Well, I think it's great too that we're starting to get some. I don't want to say this in a way that in any way discredits the early reviewers, because these are good friends of mine. These are people I respect a great deal. People like Jason Janai and Brian Kilm and others, Mike Fernino, people who got these systems early on in order to evaluate them and share their opinions with the market. Jeremy Breck, of course, another good friend. But the fact is, these people were evaluating systems with really no risk. If they didn't like it, so be it, and no harm, no foul, because EV had loaned them systems to test out. Now what we're getting, I love, are these real-world reviews. Like Scott Meiser said, he's like, look, I put my own hard-earned money into these things. EV didn't, incentivize me in any way to say this, and that's where the rubber hits the road. And so it's just so really nice to see that people love the system as much as we thought they would.
Yeah, that it is definitely a neat story there. Good stuff. So now you've got room in the warehouse, just in time.
Yeah, that was a challenge too. It was really exciting to have our warehouse guys out there, in anticipation of all these pallets of Evolves coming in, and they have tape measures out saying, well, we could put this many pallets here and that many pallets there, and how do we stage all these pallets in such a way that allows us to get them quickly broken down, labeled, and then again sorted for the outbound transit time. I just couldn't be more proud of our team. Obviously we live a culture where the customer comes first, and you saw that from every aspect, whether it was accounting or customer service or logistics, that everybody was focused on how do we ensure a very smooth rollout and get these things into the hands of UPS on time so that they can get them into the hands of the customer on time. And I just, I can't really take a lot of credit. I just kind of watched watched these good high character people that I get to work with do a great job, and it was like watching a Swiss watch. So I'm just thrilled to be a part of that watch.
Yeah, great stuff. And again, everyone has been super happy and excited. Yay, they've got their toys or tools, whatever. They're kind of a little of both sometimes.
And EV does have quite a few more of these on the way, but obviously now that the first wave is out, more people are going to want them, so that's the challenge, is making sure that we can keep up with that demand. I think they're an excellent solution for Christmas parties and holiday parties and that sort of thing too, so.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I've had my eye on this is like, oh yeah, I've got some of these smaller events over the winter, and when you mentioned being able to carry something up steps, invariably it happens I'm going through narrow hallways or up steps or somewhere, and carting the big subs in just doesn't work very well.
Well, and if you saw my video or the video that NLFX released with me in it, and also my 9-year-old daughter weighing in at 61.8 pounds, as she says, she was able to set this system up. So I think that says it all right there, that she was able to bring this system in, set it up, connect the cables, and play sound all on her own at 9 years old.
And it probably took longer for you to go through and lecture her on sound acoustics and placement of the speakers in the room than it did for her to set it up.
Well, let's be honest. She's my 9-year-old daughter. She's not going to listen to that. So she's got no time for a lecture from Dad. So
I'm putting it here. I'm not listening. Yeah, I think I've got one. I've got one of those in the house too.
Yep, and don't dare tell her what to play. Dad doesn't know anything about music either. So I tell you what, John, it was at Mobile Beat this year, and I was walking in, and as you walk in there, kind of heading towards the exhibit area, you walk past the sort of tables and chairs. People are sitting down and visiting, and of course, you're seeing friends that you haven't seen in a while, months or years in some case. And somebody said, "Here comes the smartest guy in the room," and I'm like, they're like, "No, it's you," and I'm like, well, and somebody followed that comment up by saying, "Yeah, what does it feel like to get off a plane in a place like Vegas and walk into a trade show and everybody thinks that you know everything?" And I said, "You know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to lie. I got a wife and 3 kids. I said, who will very quickly let you know that I don't know anything." So I said, it's really nice to be able to come into a place like that where people think I know something.
Yeah.
So anyway,
those little victories.
Especially as the one daughter was a teenager at the time, and my son's approaching that age. My stock is falling.
You've got a few more years before they'll start to say, "Wow, maybe Dad is smarter than." Great stuff, Ben. Thank you very much. We're going to let you guys go so you and Doug can go and enjoy your evening and get ready for tomorrow's sessions. If I've got some people in the chat rooms who have been asking about getting some pricing and different things, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, reach out to any of us at NLFX. Certainly, Katie is always on standby, loves to talk to people. I am on the road until October 16th. They can certainly message me, and probably I will just put them in touch with somebody back there. It's difficult for me to get back. I am doing 3 presentations tomorrow, so a lot of that time I'll be on stage and not checking messages. But they can email Katie. They can find Katie on Facebook. They can call our toll-free number. They can send us a telegram. Whatever works best for them. We would just love to hear from them.
Yeah, that sounds great. And you guys can go to nlfxpro.com. That's the website. And then from there, phone number and everything are right there. Or find Katie. Put the name in the Facebook chat because that's where a couple of people had asked about that. So
Katie Lynn Sabak, Cabak.
Yep, find her on Facebook and she will get you some information. Well, once again, thank you guys for watching tonight. We'll be back in about a half an hour with Brian Red and I talking about our past weekend's events. Both of us were out and doing some shows, so we're going to talk about that. And Ben, you have yourself a wonderful evening and have a great day tomorrow with the presentations.
Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We appreciate you a bunch.
All right, catch you in about a half hour, everyone. Bye-bye.